California Driving School Instructor License Practice Quiz, Part 3 of 4. License Suspension, Revocation, and Cancellation. Question. Upon conviction by the court, the DMV must revoke the driver's license in all but options. To misdemeanors for hit-and-run driving within 1 year, manslaughter arising from the operation of a motor vehicle, driving while under the influence of narcotics, 3 reckless driving charges within 1 year, 1 felony when a motor vehicle is used. And the answer is 2 misdemeanors for hit-and-run driving within 1 year. Reason. Mandatory revocation applies to felonies, manslaughter, DUI, and 3 reckless charges. 2 hit-and-runs may not trigger automatic revocation. Question. Cancellation of a driver's license means that options. The license is terminated without prejudice and must be surrendered. The privilege to drive is temporarily withdrawn. The privilege to drive is terminated, and a new license must be obtained after a fixed period of time. And the answer is the license is terminated without prejudice and must be surrendered. Reason. Cancellation, for example, for administrative issues, allows immediate reapplication, unlike revocation. Question. Revocation of a driver's license means that options. The privilege to drive is terminated, and a new license must be obtained after a fixed period of time. The license is terminated without prejudice and must be surrendered. The privilege to drive is temporarily withdrawn. And the answer is the privilege to drive is terminated, and a new license must be obtained after a fixed period of time. Reason. Revocation ends driving privileges, requiring reapplication after a set term. Question. Suspension of a driver's license means that options. The privilege to drive is temporarily withdrawn. The license is terminated without prejudice and must be surrendered. The privilege to drive is terminated, and a new license must be obtained after a fixed period of time. And the answer is the privilege to drive is temporarily withdrawn. Reason. Suspension is a temporary loss of driving privileges. Question. On revocations or suspensions, you have how much time to appeal? Options. 60 days, 10 days, 15 days, 30 days. And the answer is 10 days. Reason. California law typically allows 10 days to request a hearing to appeal a license suspension or revocation. Question. You lose your license without a hearing for options. Using a motor vehicle in committing a felony, drunk driving, excessive number of tickets, being physically incapacitated. And the answer is using a motor vehicle in committing a felony. Reason. Certain serious offenses, like using a vehicle in a felony, can lead to immediate license loss without a hearing. Others, like drunk driving or tickets, typically involve a process. Question. To whom do you appeal regarding revocations or suspensions? Options. DMV Commissioner or Representative, Department of Licensing, Civil Board of Professional Licensing. And the answer is DMV Commissioner or Representative. Reason. In California, appeals for license issues go through the DMV. Question. What subject would you discuss with the board if appealing a revocation or suspension? Options. Need for license, history of responsibility, moral character, personal background. And the answer is need for license. Reason. Appeals often focus on demonstrating why you need your license, for example, for work or family responsibilities. Question. If you were stopped and lawfully arrested for drunk driving and failed to submit to a chemical test, your driving privilege shall be suspended for options 12 months, 6 months, 9 months, 18 months. And the answer is 12 months. Reason. Under California's implied consent law, refusing a chemical test after a DUI arrest results in a 1-year suspension for a first offense. Question. DMV may suspend a driving instructor's license without a hearing in all of the following instances, except when the options instructor commits fraud in the scope of employment. Instructor's driving privilege has been revoked. Instructor's driving privilege has been placed on probation as a negligent operator. Instructor fails to pay a lawfully imposed fine as a result of a traffic conviction. And the answer is instructor's driving privilege has been placed on probation as a negligent operator. Reason. Probation doesn't automatically trigger suspension without a hearing. Revocation, fraud, or unpaid fines can lead to immediate action. Question. A person whose driver's license has been cancelled. Options. May immediately apply for a license, must be placed on probation. Must wait 6 months before applying for a license. Must wait 12 months before applying for a license. And the answer is may immediately apply for a license. Reason: cancellation, for example, for administrative reasons, doesn't impose a mandatory wait, unlike suspension or revocation. Question: a person whose driver's license has been revoked may reapply. Options: after the period of revocation, immediately, after waiting 6 months, after waiting 12 months. And the answer is, after the period of revocation. Reason: reapplication is allowed once the revocation term ends, which varies by offense. 5. Vehicle equipment and maintenance. Question: it is permissible to have a sticker in the right-hand corner of the windshield, provided it is no larger than options: 7 inches square, 5 inches square, 9 inches square, 9 inches square. And the answer is 7 inches square. Reason: California Vehicle Code allows stickers in the lower right corner up to 5 square inches on the left and 7 on the right to avoid obstructing the driver's view. Question: the horn must be heard at a distance of 300 feet. Options: true, false. And the answer is false. Reason: California requires horns to be audible at 200 feet, not 300. Question: a turn signal should be visible at a distance of 300 feet to the front and rear of the vehicle, both during sunlight and at night. Options: true, false. And the answer is true. Reason: vehicle code mandates turn signals be visible at 300 feet in all conditions. Question: driving with only the parking lamps lighted is permissible 1/2 hour before sunset and 1/2 hour after sunrise. Options: true, false. And the answer is false. Reason: headlights are required 30 minutes before sunset to 30 minutes after sunrise. Parking lights alone are insufficient. Question: stop lamps should be seen from a distance of 300 feet. Options: true, false. And the answer is true. Reason: California requires stop lamps brake lights to be visible at 300 feet. Question: according to the vehicle code, the emergency parking brake must options be independent in function of the service brake, bring the car to a stop within 25 feet at 20 mph, operate on all 4 wheels, be hydraulic, be vacuum controlled. And the answer is be independent in function of the service brake. Reason: the parking brake must operate separately from the main brakes for safety redundancy. Question: if the front wheel shimmies and the top of the wheel can be rocked to the left and right, what is needed? Options: ball joints or kingpins. Alignment: steering wheel, check. New tires. And the answer is ball joints or kingpins. Reason: shimmying and play indicate worn suspension components, like ball joints or kingpins. Question: in a vehicle built since 1979, stoplights may be either amber or red. Options: true, false. And the answer is false. Reason: stoplights must be red. Amber is for turn signals. Question: license plate lamps must be so installed that the license plate can be seen for a distance of 100 feet. Options: true, false. And the answer is false. Reason: plates must be legible at 50 feet, not 100, per vehicle code. Question: the backup lights may not illuminate from the rear more than 75 feet. Options: true, false. And the answer is false. Reason: there's no strict 75-foot limit. Backup lights must be functional and visible, but aren't capped at a distance. Question: part of the car that restores charge to the battery is options: alternator, amp, meter, voltmeter, coil. And the answer is alternator. Reason: the alternator generates electricity to recharge the battery. Question: the low beam of the headlights must illuminate at least 100 feet. Options: true, false. And the answer is true. Reason: low beams must illuminate at least 100 feet ahead per vehicle code. Question: the piston is attached to the crankshaft by the options: rods, cams, gears, rings. And the answer is rods. Reason: connecting rods link pistons to the crankshaft in an engine. Question: all cars manufactured after January 1962 must have seatbelt anchors or any other approved method by which safety belts may be attached. Options: true, false. And the answer is true. Reason: federal and California laws mandated seatbelt anchors starting in 1962.